So, we have a bit of astrology coming into this pattern, which is perfectly consistent with the times, for in those days astrology was as sound a science as physics is today. People regarded it with just as much appreciation and keenness of affection. So the disembodied being, the disenchanted one, who has wakened from the sleep of material life and has passed out of this world of matter into the sidereal world of the divine machinery, moves first upward through the gate of the moon. And there, as Hermes says, it relinquishes the power to increase and decrease. In other words, it ends the moods, or renounces its strange allegiances by which man has become servant of the moon, servant of change, servant of vacillation, servant of mood, servant of generation, servant of all these things which in their inconstancy hold up the mirror of illusion in which the being sees the distorted reflection of itself. So to all the strange illusions of night and darkness, the waxing and waning, and the strange laws governing the 28-day cycle of the moon, from all the strange world of phenomena which is associated by the ancients with the lunar law, and constitute together the lunacy of old time, these are rejected, cast off, returned again to their custodian, where they shall be held to be used by others who need them. But now the soul is returning to its homeland. And having relieved itself from all of these mysterious bonds and bondages, the soul then ascends to the gate of Mercury. And here it returns to the guardian, or the worker of the gate, in its own way, those things which belong to the world of Mercury. And Hermes says that these include all manner of deceit, all manner of false thinking, all schemes, all plots and strategies. Intellections which have no substance in themselves, false knowledge, false learning, sophistication, that by which brilliance is mistaken for truth, and the light of sophistry is substituted for the light of reason. These things must return again. A man to pass through the gate and ascend must pay the fee of the gatekeeper, and at each gate the gatekeeper demands its allotment from the nature of man, so that in each gate man loses something of his mortal or corporeal nature. And he ascends to the third gate, and here he must restore to Venus those things which are the peculiar province of this goddess. And most of that which he must restore is vanity. Vanity must cease. He must never again be moved by appearances and the outward semblances of things. He must not chase the will-o'-the-wisp of gratification or of idle fortune. in any way be deceived by the seemingness of anything. He must penetrate appearances, seeking for that beauty which is in the soul of things, and not indoctrinated only by those symmetries and graces of form which he has mistaken for the presence of reality. Having paid the keeper of this gate, he goes on. And approaches the gate of the sun. And here to this guardian, to this one of the seven governors, he must restore its substance, which is ambition. For here he must return to the gatekeeper all of those things which bear upon greatness, all desire to excel others. Humility and humble station, to escape also from the temptation of possession and the great temptation of all, to lose what we have to the detriment and destruction of those who have less. This must be left with the keeper of the gate of the sun. Then the soul proceeds onward to the gate of Mars. And here the gatekeeper also demands his fee, and to him must be returned all contention, all discord, all hate, all warlikeness, either of the mind or of the body. There must be an arbitration of every conflict which can possibly affect adversely the spiritual destiny of the soul. To Mars, therefore, must be given back temper, anger. Even righteous indignation has no place. All things but gentleness must be renounced. Then To the gate of Jupiter the soul ascends. And here it must perhaps sacrifice more than in any other place in our way of thinking today. For here we must sacrifice judgment of others. Here we must sacrifice the type of thinking which many people regard as philosophical. We must give up the mental solution to the mystery of life. Here we must end forever the discussions, discourses, debates of the learned. Theoretical knowledge, from the common mistake that if we name a thing we know it. Here we must reform the whole concept of our higher learning, making it identical with the quest for reality, rather than the accumulation of a wealth of ideas, which may seem to be a marvelous fortune, but really are only a burden to the spirit. And having passed through this gate, the soul comes finally to the gate of Saturn. And here it must give up those things which are its most basic ideas. Its belief in life and death. Its belief in happiness and sorrow. Its belief that this world bears anywhere within the substance of itself any injustice. Also, we must give up all compromise about the laws of nature and the laws of God. Here we must give up all evasions. We must give up everything which seems to point to the permanence of our illusionary state. So that indeed, from the gravity of this planet, we have gained a gravity which holds us down. And we must return it, so that we are once more free of motion, that we move with the moment, that we master the mystery of time, that we overcome forever past, present, and future in ourselves. Dwelling in space, and having so done, according to the old beliefs, we were returned again to the infinite, from the strange whirling rings of Saturn. The soul which has ascended above the seven governors then enters into what Hermes calls the blessed state of the eighth sphere. This eighth sphere, which in the old astronomical system corresponded with the empyrean, or the abode of the angels, or the abode of blessed spirits, was also the sphere of the fixed stars. Here the reason, having liberated itself now from all worldliness, passes into the contemplation of the divine universe. Thus, having ascended through the mystery of the ladder, or of the seven conditions, the being no longer conditioned moves again into the archetypal state of pure reason. Here the being comes into the certainty of the divine good, lives in the world directly in the fashioning of God, and beholds inward